Ibram X Kendi writes that an anti-racist idea is any idea that suggests the racial groups are equals in all their apparent differences, that there is nothing right or wrong with any racial group. Anti-racist ideas argue that racist policies are the cause of racial inequities. If it weren't for racism, all racial groups would be proportionally represented in all social endeavors and economic outcomes. If this were true, then we would have to believe that racial and ethnic groups had equal outcomes until the 1600s when Europeans invented racial hierarchies. The economist Thomas Sowell has written many books on the subject of racial disparities and writes that we can read reams of social justice literature without encountering a single example of the proportional representation of different groups in endeavors open to competition in any country in the world today or at any time over thousands of years of recorded history. Material inequality between nations and peoples has been the norm, even in the absence of overt oppression. For example, Sowell writes that the Chinese were for centuries more advanced than any of the Europeans, including among their discoveries and inventions the compass, printing, paper, and rudders. Cast iron was produced in China 1,000 years before it was produced in Europe. Which racist policy did the Chinese impose on the Europeans which made them less innovative and wealthy? Are the ancient Chinese racist because they didn't establish an omnipotent world government to seize the means of production and send out a worldwide census to equally distribute the benefits of their innovations? Sowell argues that even if all human beings were equal in every conceivable way, geographic differences alone would be sufficient to explain differences in wealth between racial groups. People who lived near navigable waterways throughout history have often been more economically advanced than those who did not, due to the ease with which ideas and goods could be exchanged. Sowell states that back in the days of the Roman Empire, the cost of shipping a cargo across the length of the Mediterranean Sea, more than 2,000 miles, was less than the cost of carting the same cargo 75 miles inland. Different racial and ethnic groups have not had equitable access to such benefits of nature. All of this is not to say that there have been no harmful discriminatory policies, but simply observing a racial disparity by itself isn't evidence of racism.